Florida. Hello.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm doing good. You look beautiful.
Thanks. You too. So we're speaking tonight about real estate investments.
Oh,
One
amazing.
of
Our
one of our friends.
favorite topic.
Yes, exactly. So Bobby is going to be joining us. We met, uh, while we were looking at many different options for our investors. We met with so many pro formas, many ways to estimate what's the income, and we saw many numbers and pages of numbers and compare them. And we always try to service our clients with the best partners and professionals and experts, and we also partner with them when we find that they are consistent and reliable, and when we see what's more honest. So in that way is that we met Bobby Sosa. We were looking at a property in Boca Raton that was amazing. It was a 6-unit building. And we were wondering, well, if this could be Airbnb, which could not, because in Boca Raton it is not allowed to do an Airbnb. The city doesn't want to allow it. But with Bobby, we started looking at numbers. If that property was able to go, to go through a zoning process and maybe try to get it into a deal, which then we learned we couldn't. And it was one of the best numbers that we've seen so far regarding estimating what the income of an Airbnb, would be, the gross revenue versus all of the other expenses. And also, he was very much on time, very much, very well spoken, and with a great partner. So he's now partner of the Legacy,
Yes.
Florida. And is he? Yes. Hello.
Hey,
Bobby, can you hear us?
Can you
yes.
hear us, Bobby?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You missed the most important part. We were like talking so much good things about you.
Awesome.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you for your time, and we are excited to hear what you have stories for us and for everybody that is here in this live. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
You're amazing, Bobby.
Yes, Bobby, thank you so much for joining us, and we're very excited that you have partnered with the Legacy Florida. We're thinking based in Boca Raton, but we service also South Florida investors. For if you're looking for a home, your first home, your last home, your second home. We are here with our team, fantastic team of realtors. Bobby partnered with us because, as I said before, and I don't see him right now, is he online? Yes, because he's amazing. He's done, and we've seen a little bit of his work with other properties. We had feedback too, and we're gonna speak tonight about how is the Airbnb market doing. Bobby, is it worth paying 20 or 25% management fee for the services of our Airbnb management company? No? Hello?
I think, oh, he's there.
Yep. Hey, came in right in time. Right for the first question, yeah. Yep, I
Yeah.
heard it.
Did you hear it?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So, really, so it depends. I guess really the main part of that is whether or not, so anybody can truly manage a property, but it's just a matter of the time that the investor has and actually putting in the work and putting in the research and the amount of hours it takes to be good at this, and to be a great operator in the space. So it depends, right? And it's more or less whether or not that investor or the person that wants to purchase that Airbnb wants to be hands-on day to day because there is a lot to it, right? So
Correct.
everything from guest communication, vendor communication, you name it, there is a ton of day-to-day operations. So it's all around that time that that investor wants to spend. And really, it's really about who, not how. So like, who is the people that you're gonna surround yourself with to actually take that property and get the most revenue out of that property, as opposed to trying to do it all yourself, right? Especially if you have, another profession, or you have a career somewhere else, or you're trying to look for that next property. If you're like a full-time real estate investor, you're not going to want to spend, all your time doing this. So it just all depends. It depends on the goals of the investor.
Okay. Well, I have to say, is that, wow, so much work. I mean, to do it appropriately is so much work.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's the day to day. Is keeping up with the properties, with the people coming in and out, and the marketing part too.
Mhm.
And all of and it's like a business. It's running a business.
Yeah.
Or actually, the owner of the property wants to run the business too full time, or they don't.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, because it's different. Exactly. In 2021, during the pandemic years, that was like the boom of Airbnb, right? So you could purchase a property and really, with minimum amount of effort, make good cash flow, make great returns, by just putting it there on Airbnb. And it's completely different now. It's starting to level out back to pre-pandemic. There's still growth there, but it just shows that much more how much more time and research you have to put in to understanding how to be in that top 25, 10 percentile in the market, right? So it is a business, and it's full time. So that's what we specialize in, and definitely suggest, in order to get the most out of your revenue, you either have to spend that time to get there and to be one of those top operators, or you hand it off to someone that can do that.
So, and how much are you seeing in the market moving out versus 1 or 2, 3 years? Those level of occupancies in the Airbnb properties are are those a lot less, a lot more that how do you see in terms of keeping that occupancy every month or seasonally? How is that
Right.
going?
Yeah. Yeah. So really, and it's different across the markets, but across, if you look at short-term rentals in general, right? There is some really good research out there in terms of understanding market trends, whether it's vacation trends and travel trends, but also in short-term rental space. So like AirDNA, great resource to get a lot of information. Their market reports are solid. And so one of the things that in the most recent update in terms of the market trends, you actually see that occupancy is slightly down compared to last year, right? And it's like 1% or so, but it's still at about just under 70% occupancy across all markets. But if you think about the markets that we're focused in, so we love the Disney market. We like Kissimmee, Four Corners. Love that market. It's Disney World, so it's very consistent over time, and that is more in the mid 70% in occupancy, 70%. And then the South Florida market, which we also have managed properties down here, that is more in the mid 60s. And so it's different, right? So Fort Lauderdale, for example, is actually slightly above what it was coming out of 2019, like heading into the pandemic. So all that we're really seeing is just a normalization, or basically travel, and what we are looking at from Airbnb is normalizing back to pre-pandemic. So if you're comparing it to 2021, it's not really fair. That's like the boom of everything, and so you just have to take that with with a grain of salt, and everything that we're looking at. We're just comparing year over year, over time, but also more importantly, what was it pre-pandemic, and are we still seeing growth in the short-term rental space? And we are, right? There's still demand. Demand is up almost 10% year over year, and so you're still seeing demand, and you're still seeing a ton of new short-term rental listings continuing to come onto the market. And we were, so me and my business partner Philip, right before earlier today, we were talking about it, and about like half of our guests, there's their first experience in Airbnb. Half of our guests that we've had so far across all of our properties, it's their first experience, and you can see like the trips that they've made, right, and their first experience. So just think about that, the amount of people that are just now getting into traveling by Airbnb. There's just a ton of space to grow there in that market.
Okay. So if we were going to try to estimate, the revenue in an Airbnb property in Fort Lauderdale, we would estimate a 65% of occupancy versus in Orlando, 75% occupancy by the industry.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, over the course of a year, right? Yeah, and Kissimmee, there's still it's seasonal, right? Just like most markets, but those seasons are different. It's slower when kids are going back to school, when families are getting back into the swing of things, heading into the fall. Whereas South Florida, off season is between that like May to really through September, and then it starts to the occupancy starts to rise again, and that's really where you focus most of your attention. You still want to do very well in the off season to hold you over, but when it's heads into season, that's where you see occupancy, but also the rates. What you need to increase your rates for your rentals. That's where you really see the revenue coming in.
Mm-hmm. And when is what do you find? What would be the tips that we would give to investors when they're looking at an investment in an Airbnb property? What makes them more profitable and better for you to manage, and to catch those tourists and those visitors out there?
Yeah. So first, know your market, right? So you have to, if you're looking in a particular market, you have to understand the type of travelers that are coming into that market. And you really want to understand what the numbers look like in that market, so that you can start to and really know too, what are the other listings look like, right? Your competitors. And so there is they're really strong operators in the short-term rental space. A lot of people know them, but Avery Carl and Luke Carl is they're known in the short-term rental space. And I think so. Luke Carl's talks about like that enemy method, which is like know your competitor and really use them to understand those top properties that perform in terms of revenue or occupancy in that particular market. Take a look at them. What do they have? And is the properties that you're looking for in that area provide that? So in Florida, you want a pool, right? That's for sure. And that's
sure.
Yeah, right. And so aside from that, though, you want to know who your who's your avatar, or who's the type of guest that you're going to be serving, and then you have to run your numbers. So depending where you're at. So in Disney market, you want to have a lot of bedrooms, right? So 5+ bedrooms, the higher you get, the better, because a lot of families come and they want to stay together inside of a house. That's where we really succeed there. South Florida can be different. It's, you can be okay with a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, even 4-bedroom down here. You just really want to know where are you, right? Are you close to the beach down here? Are you walking distance to the beach? And if not, then there's other types of avatars that you can tend to focus on. So whether it's corporate travel or traveling nurses, if you have somewhere more near a hospital or things like that. So it's all depends. There's not one thing over another, except for probably the pool. You definitely want a pool here, but
You always want a pool.
Yeah, right.
Oh wow. Okay, so that's a good. So and that increases. We had this conversation that it is important. The pool increases the revenue about 20%.
Yeah. When we ran the numbers, so depending on where you're at, it can improve your listing by anywhere between like 10 to 20%, just depending on the size of the property.
Can you just an example where you took like an Airbnb property and made it more profitable?
Yeah, yeah, awesome. So really, one of the first listings properties that we got. So we actually bought that property in Kissimmee in Four Corners, so at one of the at Windsor West Side, one of the resort communities up there. So when this property was purchased is December 2021, and the property was doing like about 40,000 a year in gross revenue. So after we took that, really it was focusing all on the design, going in on the marketing. How are we going to attract people and get people in? So we put in a ton of effort in design. We spent up on that because we knew it was going to attract. So in Kissimmee, you want the themed rooms, right? You want a princess room and a Star Wars room, and we went with fiber optic, like lighting within. Like we have a really cool stars that was custom built, like on the ceiling. That when you're in the room and you flick on the lights, you look like you're looking up at the stars. We put crown molding and LED lights in there. Like it's a really awesome experience. Everything flows. Didn't spare the expense there because we knew the marketing aspect was going to be important, and then it was all around the experience for the guests, right? So going above and beyond hospitality, making sure the guests were good to go, making sure we had the team in place, right? We didn't have amazing cleaners like we have now, like an amazing team right out the gate. We had to go through iterations and find the right people that made up like our A team, and we put that in place. And all in all, like, and all said and done, we actually doubled the gross revenue that property was doing from around 40,000 to about 80,000 in 2022. Yeah, and it really it's just coming in and saying, okay, we want to give an amazing experience, and we're not going to. You can have a property anywhere. So you remember you asked like whether or not it's important to have the property. Like what are the important pieces when you're looking for a property? You can have a property by the beach, and you can have a property, way west. We're in South Florida, so let's say it's west. It doesn't really matter where you have it, whether it's by the beach or not. A property like that can underperform if you're not putting in the amount of effort that you need to in terms of design, like really the marketing aspect, getting people interested in booking. And then once they're booking, how do you get them like raving about it after they leave? How do you get them excited about their stay and providing that next level experience? So no matter where you book, now obviously there's places you don't want to or purchase a property, but no matter where, it's all around that second half of it. And you have to know your numbers. Make sure you do your research ahead of time and understand whether or not that's a cash producing property, and making sure that those numbers work out, and then you can move forward.
Okay. Very clear, yeah.
Very clear. And then that we have the conversation of this property that we have been looking at in Pompano.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we wanted to ask you your opinion. Here it is. I wanted to show it also online. Look at this magnificent piece of property.
Yeah, I love the property.
We love this property. I think that, what do you think about the numbers? Because you know the numbers very well.
Yeah. So in terms of gross revenue, right? So within this property, there is 7 1-bedrooms, right? There's a number of 1-bedrooms there, as well as a detached property as well. And ultimately, the gross revenue, if you look at the all in all, you can do about 240,000 in gross revenue just as a rental. What's really cool, so the pool's amazing. It's in a great spot. Like Pompano is blowing up out east, right? The development out there, it's I really love being out there now, especially with all the different restaurants and everything that they're putting in there right down by the beach. So love the area, but ultimately, the revenue, right now there's long-term tenants in there, but the gross revenue from a short-term rental can do close to 240,000, and that's conservative. 240,000 a year in gross. And then the really cool part is there's 2 docks, right? And you could actually rent those out and put on an additional 22,000 in revenue annually if you rent those out to whoever, because ultimately if you have the Airbnbs out there, short-term rentals, you're probably not going to provide a boat to. You can rent it out to other people down here, or anybody that's looking to store their boat.
Yes. Amazing.
Well, this property is, it has the docks, and also it's located. Pompano has these characteristics where there is like the new Ritz-Carlton is under construction.
Correct. That's huge.
Luxury project is beautiful. There are many trendy restaurants, new restaurants, hip restaurants now. There's one rooftop restaurant in front of the ocean or with ocean views, and then the pier. Wow, the pier in Pompano.
Yeah.
It's one of the most beautiful piers now in South Florida, isn't it?
It's growing. It's growing so much.
Yeah, I want that. I want that property.
Yeah, I know. So anybody investing in a great property, this property is amazing, and what we would like to buy too.
We would love to buy it too.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yes. So anyway, now we have the Legacy Florida, Loibel Lottermann, leader and founder, and we're here in South Florida. If you want to look at this property or any other properties, you know that you have a great team here. We run the numbers. We really present all of the estimates are based on on the history of what, the comparables in the area and what we've seen the last 3 or 4 years, what we goes as far as pre-pandemic levels, just to we make an accurate or the better estimate that you could get in hand to make your purchase decision. And Loibel, hello?
Hello, I'm here. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So Loibel, you want to wrap it up? And thank you, Bobby, for being here tonight.
I think somebody's asking a question there.
Yes.
What are the biggest occupational trends in Florida for Airbnb?
I'm not sure if it's occupancy they're referring to, but
I think so. Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I guess basically in South Florida, in particular, let's say, well, in Florida in general too, there is so in Fort Lauderdale, it's gone down year over year, right? So again, 2022, 2021 coming out of 2022, that was like the height of Airbnb, right? Very high up. Like occupancy was high. You were getting a lot of revenue from that without doing a lot. Now we're starting to see it creep down. So in general in the market, there was it went down by almost 2% year over year, but compared to 2019 pre-pandemic, it's actually seeing almost a 9% growth since 2019, right? So there's still growth there. That's why the other part, I'm glad it's someone asked this too. When you're running your numbers for these properties, really, and we can help with that too, right? So Neisy, as you were saying, like that's what we do. You have to understand how to underwrite deals and really make sure that you're dialed in on those, because if you do that right and you build that floor, you're going to truly understand, like, hey, we don't want to, yes, it crushed, this property would have crushed in 2021, maybe 2022, but what about 2019, right? Like, what about before the pandemic? If it's still strong there, there's growth still attached to that. It's going to be somewhere between 2019 and 2022. So just give yourself that buffer so that hey, my downside, that's why I gave those numbers as conservative numbers. Upside, of course, it's definitely a lot different, but you just want to give you that conservative number when you're underwriting deals.
Yes, and it's also we also look at it from the, you know, if it's not run as an Airbnb versus running it as an Airbnb. So we do make that comparison too, and that's, you know, we look at all the numbers so that our clients can make the best decision that they can make with all the data that we provide. So, well, I see that. How are those properties in Fort Lauderdale and Wilton Manors doing? Wilton Manors is the name
In
yeah.
in the Wilton Manors one,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
so that one we're still going through. Um, we're still going through the onboarding for that one. So we just took that over from a large management company. I think that's like one of the biggest things we see too, is a lot of folks that get into wanting to run an Airbnb, and they get some of these larger, pretty large rental company or management companies. They often aren't putting as much care and attention to that property to try and getting it, because again, they have such a large portfolio. Sometimes like they're not giving enough attention to it. So that's how we got this property. We actually got another one from Kissimmee from a pretty large management company. So we're actually it's hard to get them out of this contract. So we're still trying to get them out. It's an onboarding. We're going through the onboarding as well. So that'll be up and live, hopefully within the next month or so. And then we're getting another one live in Davenport right now, which is about like 15 minutes from Disney. And we're doing some pretty awesome stuff there in terms of designing it as well. So we're excited. We got some stuff going our way, and then the properties in Lauderdale by the Sea, those are doing well. Again, it's slow season right now, and but we're really excited since we've taken over that property earlier this year. We have exceeded like our expectations, even in terms of revenue, with just what we're doing to that property. We're excited to like do a 2.0 design of that property, and then head into next season, starting in November time, and really ramp up for that. So we're excited.
Well, we're familiar with that property. We're excited too. Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
What is the 2.8 design?
Say again.
Did you mention you were doing a design or a 2.8 design or something?
Yeah, just especially in the outdoor area, right? There's that an outdoor area that's fenced in, that's a private like hot tub area, and there's turf on the ground. But what we really want to do is make that like a little oasis, or really make it feel like you're stepping into a completely different world almost, with like, get some lights, like string lights out there, some nice string lights to kind of go over, and get some greenery to put around the hot tub, as well as build up a platform or like steps going up to it. We have some ideas to really make that area, in terms of photography, right? So that marketing aspect, like what are the things that are going to draw people's attention immediately, and that that would be something that really catches people's attention if we can get that outdoor patio area looking right. And then there's other components like that are pretty simple, what we want to do, but like adding accent walls within some of those walls, and make them not just all white walls, and do those little things like that'll really make it pop, especially as a short-term rental. Travelers often want to go to somewhere that they're not used to, like different than their normal day-to-day. So take a little bit of risks when you're designing your short-term rentals, because it's that experience you want to give people, that doesn't feel like they're at home, but they still can have that 4 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms, to get multiple people together in one spot.
Good.
Fantastic. Well, Bobby, thank you so much for your insight tonight. We look forward to seeing you soon again.
Yeah. Bobby, Seriously, you're awesome. Wow, we are like, we admire you and respect you, and we appreciate you always being for us with when we need the numbers for our investors. You seriously the best.
The
And
best.
Yeah. Oh, you guys are awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
So
we love working with you.
contact us at any time. You can email blueinvest2025@gmail.com or call.
561-609-9923 or connect at.
Yes, and if you want to learn more about this property in Pompano, it's awesome. It's great. Or any other properties. We have a little distressed properties now in Boca. Few of them. We're looking at them.
Maybe
So,
the legacy
yeah.
and Bobby, and
And
we
they're
all
ready.
buy that property.
Yes.
together.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Good night.
Thank you.